Hey Ottawa, this is Annalee Rice with Royal LePage Performance Realty in Ottawa, Ontario, and this is your Monday market snapshot for May 22nd, 2023, which is a holiday weekend for Victoria Day. This is actually going to come out slightly late. May hit the airways just before midnight onto the 23rd, so I hope you weren't waiting around for it. But I had a very busy weekend and with helping buyers from out of province, and so I just had to take a second seat. But here we go. Okay, so first off, we see that the number of active listings dropped slightly by 14 across the city. Um, and then the number of sales was very steady. It was actually up by 2 compared to last week. The reason for this is the fact that we had the long weekend. So a lot of people don't list their homes right before a long weekend if they're going to be hosting family or whatever. And then also a lot of people use the long weekend to do their final preps. So I would expect that in the next week or potentially two, you're going to see a lot more listings coming out compared to especially this week. And hopefully it'll start increasing those number of active listings. And here we have it on graph form, so we can see the green of the active listings has stayed relatively steady throughout the spring. It has some peaks and troughs, but it hasn't climbed significantly. We see that the red wedge, the sales, is about the same as it was last week, but the overall number of properties is lower, and that a lot of that's to do with the fact that there were significantly less or fewer conditional sales this week, and that's mainly because most of the offers are still have conditions. So that was the drop in sales that we see. It's the conditional sales. So next week, expect that the number of sales will have dropped. Okay, so this chart shows us the number of new listings in yellow. So we see that there was a significant drop. We're just over 400. It was 405 properties that came on the market this week. And of those 405 properties, we had 81% or 330 were new to the market properties, and 19% or 75 were relisted. Those ratios remain about the same as they are week to week. It's just that the total number is a lot lower this week. Sales, as I said before, were very steady compared to last week, but I do expect them to potentially take a drop next week due to the fewer conditional sales that we saw this week. Okay, so this is the percentage of sales this week that sold with conditions and without conditions. So we're back down to about that 25-75 percent ratio, which is nice. I was a little worried that the spike last week in the number of sales without conditions was a pattern, but I guess we'll see next week. Of the properties that sold this week, 26% were on the market for 7 or fewer days, and 68% were on the market for 30 or fewer days. And of the homes that sold within 7 days, 55% of those are selling without conditions this last week. So definitely the longer it's on, the more likely that you can have conditions. I know that's pretty self-explanatory, but if you're looking to buy something when it right hits the market, the chances are a lot higher that you're going to have to go without conditions, which is, I know, sometimes scary. Okay, so if we zoom into the different areas of the city, I don't have a whole lot to say, so I'm just going to pause for each slide and let the details be there. This is the central urban region inside the Greenbelt. The only thing that's sort of significant there is that the number of active listings for condominiums is up a little bit more than everything else. Sales are pretty flat. In Canada and Stittsville, we see a fair drop in the number of townhomes listed actively. I think that was a bit of a spike last week that jumped it up to that, but and a few more condominiums sold this week than past weeks. We still have a situation where there are lots of townhomes selling, 17 when there's only 37 on the market. That's very tight. And with Barrhaven, we see pretty flat on the number of change for active listings. And again, the townhomes, there's 22 selling and 44, so that's half of them selling every week. And in Orleans, just a slight drop across property types for the number of active listings, and increases in detached and towns just slightly for the number of homes that sold, and condominiums still about nine condominiums selling in 1 week. These are the stats for all of the detached homes across the city. And we can see this is the first week I think we've seen the average list price in Barrhaven creep up above that 1 million mark. For the residential townhomes across the city, we continue to see very low supply, lots of sales, and as a result, the number of days on market continues to be quite low. And for condominiums, we're seeing it's pretty steady across the market for this, and the numbers are coming down a little bit, but it's definitely a slower market for condominiums than for detached or townhomes. Okay, so it was a pretty quick update this week, and I hope I can get this released quickly and everybody can enjoy it. If you have any questions, I know there wasn't very much data here. Next week will be close to the end of the month, so I might be able to include some monthly stats and some sneak peeks of what we're going to see in the monthly stats. And if you ever have any questions, please reach out and let me know. Have a great week.